When we commit a sin, or when we miss a regular act of remembrance word, and we begin to feel far from Allah's mercy and love, this shows that we are relying on our deeds. The truly noble people, those who have come to know Allah more deeply, never reduce their hope in Allah under any circumstance. Whether they are performing acts of obedience or being tested with sin, their hope in Allah remains the same. Why? Because they do not rely on their deeds. They rely on the mercy of Allah. They rely on the grace and generosity of Allah, the Most Exalted. A deed simply means a movement of the body, or a movement of the heart. When our body moves, that is a deed. When our heart moves, that is also a deed. If the movement of the body or the heart brings reward, it is called obedience, ta'ah. If the movement of the body or heart leads to punishment, it is called sin, mias. In this sense, sin is also a kind of action. For example, a thief can be very active in action. Even though his actions are sinful, they are still deeds. What we must focus on is performing deeds that bring reward and avoiding deeds that bring punishment. The purpose of Sharia-based deeds is to beautify and discipline the outer body. This includes protecting and guiding the limbs. The eyes should not look at what Allah has forbidden. The mouth should not speak what Allah has prohibited. The feet should not walk toward what Allah has forbidden. The hands should not touch what Allah has forbidden. Improving and disciplining the physical limbs is the role of Sharia deeds. The essence of Sharia practice revolves around three foundations: repentance, tawbah, God, consistency. Istiqamah, repentance, means cleansing oneself from sins. Repentance is like taking a bath. After bathing, one puts on clothing. This is like taqwa. Then the question becomes, how do we keep those clothes on continuously? That is istiqamah. If sometimes we wear clothes, and sometimes we remain naked, that is not consistency. Istiqamah means continuously obeying Allah and avoiding what He has forbidden in all circumstances. Whether in difficulty or ease, wealth or poverty, sickness or health, worship is not abandoned. That is it. The purpose of Tariqa is to purify and beautify the heart. How do we remove arrogance? How do we remove showing off riya? How do we remove envy? These are matters of the heart, and they are addressed through Tariqa. The essence of Tariqa revolves around three qualities: sincerity, ikhlas, truthfulness, siddiq, inner tranquility, tumani. Every person who is truly truthful, siddiq, is sincere. But not every sincere person has reached the level of siddiq. Therefore, siddiq is a higher rank than sincerity. For example, a person may pray sincerely, but not necessarily with complete truthfulness of heart. How do we know? Because sometimes our lips recite the prayer, while our hearts wander elsewhere. This shows a lack of true honesty between the tongue and the heart. Truthfulness means the heart and tongue are aligned. Tumanina means the heart finds peace with Allah. A person may have family, wealth, status, or power, yet none of these bring true peace. But when they remember Allah, their heart becomes tranquil. That is tumanina. The Quran says, "Indeed, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find peace." A person who has completed the path of Tariqa finds peace with Allah alone. They may sit with anyone without feeling inner peace. But the moment they remember Alivan, alone in a wilderness, their heart becomes tranquil. The purpose of Haqiqa is to refine and illuminate the spirit Ra. A good spirit is a spirit that knows Allah. How can the soul come to know Allah? This is the domain of Haqiqa. The essence of Haqiqa consists of three stages. 1. Muraqabah, kedua, mushahada, ketiga, marifa. Muraqabah means feeling constantly watched by Allah. A person feels that Allah always sees them, watches them, and observes them. Because of this awareness, they feel ashamed to commit wrongdoing. Whether day or night, in private or in public, at home, in the market, in the office, or in the wilderness, they feel that Allah is always watching them. This state is called maraq. The Prophet said, "Worship Allah as though you see Him." That state is musiata. If you cannot see Him, then know that He sees you. This is muraqaba. When a person consistently lives with this awareness, Allah may grant them musiada. When musiada deepens and becomes firmly established, Allah grants the servant true spiritual knowledge and recognition of Him. Therefore, a believer must cultivate 3 levels of deeds. 1. Sharia deeds, to beautify the outward body, tawbah, taqwa, istiqama. 2. Tariqa deeds, to purify the heart, ikhlas, siddiq, tumanina. 3. Haqiqa deeds, to illuminate the spirit, muraqaba, musiada. The scholars of Sufism say, a person should not move to a higher spiritual station until the previous one has been firmly established. One must not rush toward Tariqa if Sharia has not yet been solidified. Therefore, the first step is to establish 3 things firmly: repentance, God consciousness, consistency in obedience. Once these are firmly rooted, then one may advance to the path of the heart.